How have things gone since things tightened up in terms of where you're at and where you want to be?
In terms of,
How are things going in terms of the last start and where you are versus where you want to be?
yeah, in a good spot. Looking forward to, getting ready for tomorrow and, just keeping things one day at a time. Making sure that we make the adjustments that are necessary. After game one, especially learning after the last time with, how the NLCS went and just trying to make some adjustments.
What does that mean for you specifically?
Just sticking to what we do and being able to make sure that we don't try to do too much and make sure that we can slow the game down a little bit and just make sure we take things one pitch at a time. Take that same mindset from the first game and go into it, but be able to make adjustments on the fly.
Second row on your right, Jack. Fabian?
Yeah, David said that your hamstring had kind of tightened up on you a little bit over the course of that start. Is that something you had to be extra mindful of during this week? And is there anything that you feel like is inhibiting you doing?
No, I mean, it's caused a little bit of extra work that I normally wouldn't have to do. But I'm good, feeling good today. I felt good yesterday. I found my bullpen. So at this point, it's not anything I'm worried about.
Obviously, over the years, you competed against the Dodgers for a while. Was there anything that when you got here that maybe surprised you, or that stood out to you immediately, just walking that clubhouse or just being around it every single day?
No, nothing really. I think, people like to make it seem like it wasn't the most close-knit group and that it was just, maybe not as tight as some other clubhouses and locker rooms. And from the outside looking in, that just never seemed like the case. It seemed like they were all in it together and the way they went about their business. And you could see like even from an approach standpoint as a team and the way they seemed to have each other's backs and the way it always seemed that, as the game got later on, I had a handful of them just watching from the other side as we got later into the game and starter came out. If they were down, they found a way to rally and they were never out of it. So that's a sign of a team that's together. And so that's the way that it's been since I walked in, day one in San Diego and all throughout up until this point.
Stay on your right with Tyler in the fourth row.
Jack, when you look at the Dodgers now, I mean, the additions they made at the deadline, yourself and Edman and Kopech have just been huge. Can you just sort of tell me a little bit about the impact that you've seen the three of you guys make on this team down the stretch?
Yeah, I mean, that's what, try not to make things too big, at least for myself. When I came over here, my job was to go out and try to win some ball games, give the team a chance to win every time I went out. And then, it was going to be a matter of time once Tommy got healthy that, I've seen it. I got to play with that guy for a handful of years, watch what he did when he came up in 19 and he's in 2019 and starting playoff games for us. So for me, I'm not surprised at what he's done. I think it's awesome to see him continue to do what he's do after dealing with some injuries the last couple of years. And just because the guy is injured for a little bit doesn't mean that he hasn't stopped working or that talent has gone away. And Tommy is somebody that has worked continuously hard over and over again. And then I've known Kopech for a long time, same high school class. It's been awesome to see what he's been able to do. That guy is he's gone through a lot away from the field. And then what he was able to do coming over here and not trying to do too much and embracing his role in the pen and pitching some really big innings has been, nothing short of sensational. So all those guys have been great. And then everybody that has stepped up. And then, you look at, Walker too, what he's been able to do once he came back and got through a couple of those, bumps and bruises, and what he's been able to do on this little stretch has been, that's Walker. They try to say turn back the clock on what he did. And, but, for me, just guys had two TJs and he's going to go out and he's going to give you everything he's got no matter what. So it's been fun to be a part of it.
The five rows back on your left with Matt.
Hey, Jack, there have been a number of moments with the Dodgers specifically where things could have gone terribly wrong, whether it's injuries or other things like that. What do you think has allowed you guys to always end up seemingly on the right side of those inflection points?
Yeah, there's been a lot of them. We're down 2-1 to San Diego. This isn't to say this thing's over with. We still got a long ways to go. This series is far from over. it's a really good team over there. But this team has been a bunch of fighters, and Doc's done a really good job of keeping us all together, no matter who's gone down or what the road may be. But this team has come together and has just really played for each other, and I think that's the simplest thing.
Jack in the second row to your left.
When you guys talk about like the clubhouse culture, how much of that starts with Mookie and Freddie and Shohei? And when you look at three guys as as big of stars as they are, like, what do you think allows them to coexist as well as they have in this group and kind of be leaders in that room?
I mean, they're selfless individuals. That's who they are. That's who they've always been. They are some of the top guys in the sport and have been for a long time. You got multiple MVPs there. Probably guys could have had a couple more, but they show up and they work, and I think that's the thing that you can take from those guys, and it just carries over to everybody else. At least for myself, when you see them show up and you see what Freddie's gone through, with his ankle injury and how early he's getting there, and the time he's taken away from his family, especially with what has gone on this year, it just makes everybody want to jump on board. So, credit to those guys, credit to everybody in there, from Muntz and Kirsch and Kike. You could go up and down the team, and everybody has played a role.
About 7 rows back on your right.
Hey, Jack. I just wanted to get your take on the fact that you guys are up 3-0 against a pretty good team in the Yankees, more than just a pretty good team. Are you kind of surprised that it's kind of, you're one game away from sweeping, that you're at this point in the series? Did you expect the series to play out this way?
I'm not worried about how I expected the series to play out. I'm just more worried about getting one more, and we know that we got to continue to play really good baseball in order to get that done, because those guys aren't going to go away quietly. They're going to, you can see it from the end there. The last inning, Verdugo puts together a really good at-bat, and Glaber puts together a really good at-bat. So I'm not worried about how it's gone up to this point. I'm just worried about, us trying to get one more.
A third row in the center aisle, Jack.
What the last 3 months have you learned about Freddie the person that you didn't know about him as Freddie the player, watching him from across the diamond?
That's a good question. I've had heard good things about him, knowing Max Fried really well and them playing together, and he just talked about how awesome Freddie was, and that may sound like a very simple description for it, but like, he really is just one of those guys that is been unbelievable to be around, sit down, talk to, just even if it's not baseball, just anything else that goes on. And he's a good dude, and I kind of assumed that playing against him and hearing everything that Max had to say about him, and just just one of the guys, and somebody that loves this game and really enjoys it and shows up every day.
What are some of the non-baseball things you never expected to talk about that you heard about with him?
I keep that between me and him, but it's been fun to be around him.
Other questions for Jack? We'll go to Kirsten. She's standing in the back.
Jack, just quickly, I know when it comes to the hitting side of the game, they often say like just hitting is contagious, but the rotation in this series, how have you all, just whether it's been building off of each other, conversations you all had amongst each other? Because I think just externally that was maybe the question mark, the starting rotation going into this one, and you all have been absolutely excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I think pitching can be contagious too, and whether or not it started with Walker's start in Game 3 against San Diego, where things happened that inning the way that they happened, but we thought he threw the ball really, really well, and then you look to the next day and what the bullpen did. And from there, what they were able to do in that game, and then you look to Yama and what he did, and just kind of carrying over. You just want to pick up after the next guy, and then if somebody has a rough night, then the next guy's going to pick you up, and that goes for everything in this game. Somebody doesn't get a job done at the plate, next guy's going to pick him up. Bullpen guy leaves a couple guys on, or starter, we come out of the game with runners on, the next guy coming in is going to pick us up. And so it's been one after the other in terms of that, and it's also been just picking the last guy up. So it's something we got to continue to do, and we still got a lot of work to do.
We'll finish up in the third row on your left with Mike.
Hey, Jack, is it weird or awkward at all preparing to pitch a Game 5 while hoping like heck you don't have to pitch a Game 5?
No, I'm not. I'm worried about our guys going out and taking care of business today, and my job is to get ready for tomorrow. So I got to focus on what I got to do to get ready for tomorrow and root these guys on tonight. And, so I got to keep my mindset right there.
All right, Jack. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.